Welcome to a new video and the continued session of our JavaScript. And I still don't know where we were. So let's begin with our Firefox and let's see and continue our last journey. Starting from going on geek4geek.com.org. And let me remind you again, in order to watch these kind of videos where content length is so sparsely separated, you must use this extension known as jump cutter. Especially if you are on PC, you can use that on Firefox on Android mobile as well. I think the iOS version of Firefox also do support extension. I don't know much in that regard. So let's continue with JavaScript. Let's see where we were in our last video. I think we done up to the string. Time for JavaScript date, JState. Before beginning, let's open our note-taking app, VS Code as well. Okay, and here is our VS Code with our README file. Actually, it is initializing, so it may feel choppy in first few seconds. And I think it has initialized now and everything feels smooth. So let's begin with JavaScript date. The JavaScript date object represents an specific moment in time measured in millisecond since the Unix epoch. What does epoch mean? Let's see. Epoch. Epoch is a particular period of history specifically considered one remarkable or noteworthy.
Epoch.
Epoch. Next, it's crucial for working with date and time in web application, providing method for tasks like date manipulation, formatting and calculation. So how can we create a date object? A date object can be initialized in various ways using the new date constructor. It supports multiple format for defining date. And here is our constructor. We can input some values as parameter. We can use date string. We can use year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds as a parameter in the date constructor. Okay. The current date will be a new date initialize, then the const date from millisecond new date, and if we enter something, it represents January 1st 2021. Let's see if it's actual the case on our test.js file. Select all, pasting it, and then console.log date from milliseconds. Okay, and node, oh sorry, cd js, then node test, and here is our represents January 1 2021. And if we change the date to 0, let's see what it will output. It will output the 1970 first 1970, which is the epoch time, the 1970 first. Okay. Date from string, new date. Okay, if we pass a string in format of date, then certainly it will output us something. For example, today is the 15th of October. So first we have to use string literals. 15th October 2024. Let's see if it work or not. 14/10/2024. One second, I have entered the 15th October, but it is outputting me 14/10. Why so? And if we enter the October 15, let's see what will do. It's still in outputting the 14/10/2024, but I am still being confused why it is written as 14T to 18. I don't know. Let's see. Parameter from date constructor. Value, the number of milliseconds. Okay, date string represents a date format. Year, the integer representing the year starting from 1900s to 1999. Okay, month, integer representing the month ranging from 0 to January, and 11 for December. Okay, just like index starting with 0. It might be something going on because I'm passing 15 and the output I am getting is 14. No, there must be something. Next is day, an optional integer representing the day of month, an optional integer for hour, minutes, seconds, etc. Retrieving date components. You can retrieve various parts of date using the following method. Get full year. Okay. Okay. So how I will use this get full year in parenthesis, this method or this constructor? I don't know. Let's see. You can format dates manually or built-in options such as INTL, date frame format, to display the date in more readable format. Okay. If we initiate a function date, new date. Okay. So I have to remove this, remove everything on the inside. Const formatted date equal to new intel date format, and here we have to define the format. Okay. Let's simply copy and paste this code, because as a programmer we just love copying and pasting. So in the first line we are initiating the date constructor, then we are asking it to format it, and if in fourth or fifth line we are actually printing it on console. Let's see what is the output. The output is 10/15/2024. Okay, so it is the date of today, and which is in displaying in as month, date, year. And what if we don't pass any parameter here in US, and let's run this again, and still is the passing as 10/15/2024. Let's run it again just for surety. Okay, now we can manipulate the date using various methods provided by date objects such as set date, adjust the date of the month, set full year, set month, set hours. I think we need a date kind of project in which we have to play with date as much as possible. And I am very sure that the ChatGPT will provide us the necessary feedback in order to understand the date completely, because these all things are going over my mind. What is this set date function or constructor or method or something? Adding 7 days. So we are initiating a date, then date dot set date, date dot get date function plus 7, add 7 to the current date. Okay, so in this variable we are extracting the get date. Okay, so I can now define a function const extracted date is equal to date dot and here we are getting a full list. Suppose we are now want hours, get hours. Okay, and if we console log extracted date, let's see what is on our terminal now. We have 0. Okay, and this time we are not extracting hours. Let's see, date dot, we want get date. Okay, and now if we run the same function again, and we are getting 15 because right now it is 15. It might be hidden by my face. Let me for a 1 second disable it, and now today is 15th of October. Okay, now time to move to another one. So now I finally got a little bit of hint. First we have to initiate in a variable, and on that variable we can pass various methods to extract and store the things in a new variable. Okay, so we are playing variable, and the article has been finished. Let's have a quiz on this date. Quiz me. Stay logged out. What is the default value of JavaScript that it created without any arguments? The current date and time. I'm going with C. But the current answer is that's a good guess. But the current answer is January 1, 1970. Okay, when date object is created without it initialized to Unix epoch time, which is date. Okay, okay. If we console log dot date here, okay, console dot log date, and let's see what it outputs. 14/10/2024. Is ChatGPT sure? Let's verify it. Default value of JavaScript date object. Okay, okay. But still we are getting we have defined something new date, and we have passed 0 as a parameter, then it defaults to the 1st January 2021. Let's see if I pass 0 as a parameter and run the code again, and now we are getting the 1970 date. But if we don't pass any parameter and run the code again, we are getting the time of the uh, date of the today. So I think the chat GPT is wrong in this one. Next, true or false? The get time. I think we got a guest here, and it's a spider right on in my webcam, and I'm sure that it will just come in front of webcam as well. No, it cling to the back side of the webcam, so we don't have to worry from that. I'm also a spider freak, but that guy looks cute to me. I don't know why, and certainly looks harmless. Never mind. Next. That's a good guess, but the current answer is Z. So we have just decided that the chat GPT is wrong in this one. Let's see. True or false? The get time methods of a date object returns the number of milliseconds since January 1st. I think on this one, chat GPT is right. Get time function. True. Let's see. Correct. Next, what method would you use to get the current year from date object? So without seeing any hint from article, let's check it from right here. Dot date dot get year from a date object, get full year, and let's copy it and present it to ChatGPT. Next, which of the format is correct for creating a date object in JavaScript? Okay, new date, this is new date, new date, this, both A and C. Mm, this time, my inner thought is saying that the B should be the right answer. But we have to follow the keyword with new. So A and C can be also true. Let's go with D this time. Okay. The month is zero based, zero for January. Okay, one first. So it actually represents the November 15, 2024. Okay. This set date method can be used to set the day of month from an object. Exactly. It's in the name to set a date. Next is what will the following code return? New date equal to new date. Okay. Console.log date dot get time zone offset. Time zone offset. I think we haven't learned about time zone offset yet. Let's see if if it was in our topic. Time zone. No, it was not. So let's run the code in hopes that we will learn a new thing. Minus 330. And from where it is deriving from? I don't know. Let's minus 330. Let's get real with ChatGPT. I cheated. I think guessed. Never mind. I cheated. CHETD. Please, please tell me more about this. No problem. The get time option returns the difference in minutes between the universal UTC. What does UTC stands for? Universal time coordinate, I think. UTC coordinated universal time. Yes. So the if your local time zone is plus 5:30 Indian Standard Time, the method will return minus 330 because your local time is 330 minutes ahead of UTC. Okay. Positive values indicates that the local time is behind UTC and negative value indicates that the local time is ahead of UTC. The value can vary depending on the DST, daylight saving time. I think these points needs to be noted nowhere but in our notepad. Next question. I think the question has finished here. Okay. Let's go back to our next topic, which is JS number. JS numbers. JavaScript number are primitive data types and unlike other programming language, you did not need to declare different numeric types like int, float, etc. JavaScript numbers are always stored in double precision 64-bit IEEE 754. Okay, defined by International Engineering Task Force, Electrical Engineering. I don't know how what was, but that's not important right now. This format stores number in 64 bits. 0 to 51 bits are store the value fraction. 52 to 62 bits stores the exponent and 63rd bit stores the sign. Numeric types in JavaScript. JavaScript number plays understanding the behavior for programming. Number one, JavaScript has only one numeric type, double precision 64 binary format. IEEE 754 means that it doesn't differentiate between integer and floating point number explicitly. Instead, it uses an unified approach for all numeric values. Integers and floating point numbers are both represented using this format. Precision is 53, accurate representation ranging from 2 to power 53 plus 1 to 2 to power 3 minus 1. Okay. Scientific notation. This right extra large number, the thing, scientific notation. Okay. And did you recall that we have learned that in order to write the big number, big int, we can use the n notation at the last of a number, and the number will automatically be handled as big integer in JavaScript. Floating point precision. Okay. Okay, first we have to complete it as, and then the answer would be 0.34. Okay. JavaScript plus operator for addition and concatenation. I think we already know that numeric strings operations on a string can be also be done because JavaScript first coerce the value in numeric, then unlike Python, which automatically starts concatenating the values if the values are presented in string format. So heads up for JavaScript. Next, number literals, decimal number. JavaScript do not have different types of number, so it has only one type of number and can hold both with or without decimal. That's a good thing. That's a little bit less complexity for me. Octal number. The number starts with 0, then the following number is smaller than 8. It will be passed as an octal number. Okay. If the number starts with 0 and the following number is smaller than 8, it will be passed as octal number. Okay, a very fun thing to see. Let's initiate two numbers. Let x is equal to 10 and let y is equal to 0 10. Why we are getting an error? 0 10, we are getting an error. The octal literals are not allowed. Okay, so we have to enter O0. Octal literals are not allowed. Okay, and if console.log, first we will log x. Okay, and by copying this line, and then we will log y, and running this file, we are getting 10 and 8. Okay, so how does the octal thing work here? We will go in detail after a few minutes. Okay, time to define a new variable. Let's x, y, and z, and we are going to represent our favorite number, which is in binary, which is 0b binary, and the binary representation of 5 was 101, I guess. So if we console x, y, and z to, let's see if we are getting 5. Yes, we are getting 5 here. Good. Next, hexadecimal. They starts with 0x and followed by any digit belonging to this. Okay. So the hexadecimal, if you know binary, then you almost know hexadecimal as well. So hexadecimal is written between 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not 10, sorry, 9. A represents, or A states for 10, B for 11, C for 12, D for 13, E for 14, and F for 15. So if I write another variable, so what comes before X? Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, W. So I have to go through every alphabet. So we have to start with 0, X, hexadecimal F, and if we console log the value, console.log W, Let's see what f will give us. F will give us 15. So the f in hexadecimal stands for 15. So these first two digits are basically the prefixes. In this case too, in this case too. So this is the 0x was prefix for hexadecimal, 0O was the prefix for octal, 0B is prefix for binary, and I somehow grasp how the octal works. So I think this last one stands for 1, and the second stands for 8. In binary cases, the second one stands for 2, and in this case the second one stands for 8. And in my case, if there is a third digit, I am very sure that this stands for 16. Let's see if I'm right or not. No, actually it stands for 64. So what we are doing here, let's see if I add the 1 here and 0 here. Let's see what the first digit stands for. The first digit stands for 1, as I've just told you. So it is 1, it is 8, and it is 64. So we are squaring the values. Okay. So we are getting 8. 8 eights are 64. Am I sure or not? Let's see. Node 8 times 8. Okay, sorry, I can't do this. Let's open a very basic terminal. Echo 8 times 8. How can I get this basic thing? 8 times 8, 8 dot read me. It's just a simple thing that I'm not able to accomplish. Back to our simple browser, and I am very sure, because I do this every day in my office, in which our system is so restricted that I don't have a calculator in our office Windows PC, so I have to use the console in our Chrome browser to do the same. Now let's multiply 8 into 8 and we are getting 64. I'm such an idiot, I can do it in a new tab. No problem. Next is undefined to nan, not a number. Undefined plus 10, we getting a not a number. Null to 0, total equal to null plus 5. Then null will be quest to 0 and 0 plus 5 equals to 5. Okay. I think hello. It is becomes a non a number, not a number. Now we are going through the big and sun symbol, attempting to coerce symbol values to remember result in type error. Okay, integer conversion. Some operations, such as those which work with array, string index, expect integers. After performing the coercion, if the number is greater than 0, then it is returned the same. And if the number is not a number or negative 0, it will return to 0. The result is always an integer. Okay, next is fixed width number coercion. In JavaScript, there are some functions that deal with binary encoding of integer, such as bitwise operator and typed array object. The bitwise operator always convert the operand to 32-bit integer. Let's see some number method. Okay, this translates it to string 2.1 exponents of plus 1. Okay, to exponential. Okay, the first one is getting the string. So the first one is string, second one is exponential, the third one to precision. Okay, and here we getting the floats value, and here is integer. So we are getting a boolean output if it is integer or not. Indeed, 21 is an integer, so we are getting true. And to local string BNBD, I think it stands for Bangladesh, Bengali or Bangladesh, and we are getting this. The author of this article might be a Bengali. Uh, um, what was his name? Akshay Gulati. Okay. Thank you, Akshay, for writing this wonderful article. And next is some fact string concatenation. When you add a string and a number in JavaScript, the result will be a string concatenation. JavaScript numbers are primarily primitive value and can also be defined as object with new keyword, and constant preceded by 0x are interpreted as hexadecimal because we've just seen here. Next, JavaScript number of base 10 by default, but you can use the toString method to get output of required base from base 2 or to base 36. Apart from regular number, JavaScript has big int numbers which are integer of arbitrary length. What does this arbitrary means? Arbitrary, determined by chance, whim or impulse, not by necessity or reason or principle.
Arbitrary.
Arbitrary. Arbitrary. Based on the subject to individual judgment or preference. Okay. Time to move to next topic. But before that, we will cover quiz. Time to hydrate yourself, guys. I think it's already been quite a minute. So let's hydrate first. What is the result of 0.1 plus 0.2 in JavaScript? 0.3? I think, I guess. Mm, I think that for 1 we will getting B as an answer. B. Due to how floating point arithmetic works. In JavaScript, numbers are represented internally as floating point number. Is this statement true? Numbers are represented internally as floating point numbers. No, not every number, but one with decimals. In JavaScript, all numbers, both integer and floating points, are represented using the precision method or the integer method. So next is what method you can use in JavaScript to convert a string to a number. It automatically gets coerced. Let's see. Okay. A common method to explicitly convert a string to a number is number. Other method includes parseInt, parsefloat. Let's see a few more questions because we have only gone to 3 questions till now. Which of the following is a valid way to create a new number in JavaScript? All of the above. Next, is nan function can be used to determine if a value is a number or not. Is not a number. Yes, if it outputs what if is not a number, if its output false. Yes, I've just said that if it outputs false, it means that the value is a number. That are all I want to say. Next, what is the purpose of toFix method in JavaScript? To convert float into integer, I think. To fix method is to format a number using fixed point notation, which means it can specify the number of decimal places. Okay. It returns a string. I think I should add this line to our note. Next. Do we need more questions? I think no. Let's move to the next topic, that is JS math, JavaScript math. In JavaScript, math object is used to perform mathematical operations on number. All the properties of math are static, and unlike other object, it does not have a constructor. We use math only on number data type and not on big int. This example includes math properties returned to their value. Okay. What is ln10, log 2e, log 10e, square root? I think I recognize the square root. Okay. Okay, square root of 2. And I don't know what we are going to do with here. Square root 1 1 underscore 2. I think we are square rooting it by half. ln2 dot e. Next is math dot pi. Next is absolute. So 4.7 absolute for 4.7 is 4.7. So we are removing the negative sign. Seal means we are rounding it off to the closest value. So 4 and 4. Ceiling and floor. Okay. So 4.4, the ceiling of 4.4 would be 5 and the floor for math 4.7 would be 4. Okay. Now we are doing some trigonometry stuff. Sine 90 into math pi by 180 is to 1. Okay. Minimum, to find out the minimum value, to generate a random number. And here we have a complete reference. Let's see if we get anything from it, this article or not. Quiz. Next, what is the purpose of JavaScript math object? To manipulate a string to perform mathematical task. Very easy question. In math object, JavaScript is a constructor and can be instantiated. No, math object is not a constructor and cannot be instantiated. Let's pronounce it. Pronunciation. Instantiated. And we are not having a pronunciation here. And let's see if this website can pronounce it or not.
Instantiate.
Instantiated. Okay.
Instantiate.
Instantiate. Next, what method would you choose to find the square root of a number in JavaScript? SQRT. Math.sqrt. I think this is the method. Okay. So we have to write in all caps SQRT. Okay. Next, the correct method to find the square root of number. Okay. Find which of the reaches the largest of the min max. I think the answer would be B. Next is Math.random generates a random number between 0 and 1, including both endpoints. I think it's true. Not sure about including. Let's see. Math generates a random number. It's okay. So the 0 is inclusive. 0 may be included, but does not include 1. Okay. What method would you choose to round a number to the nearest integer in JavaScript? So I can use seal and I can use dot floor. Okay, the math dot round. Okay. What does the math dot power base and exponent method? Raise the base to the exponent power. I think the first answer is correct. Next, math.py provides the value of pi in JavaScript. Yes. Let's get the value of pi. Math.py and control A, wrapping it with console.log. Let's see the output. Wait a second. And here is our pi value stored in 64-bit, I think. 1 2 3. Next, what method would you choose to get the absolute value of a number? Dot abs. Okay. Which of the following method would generate a random integer between a specified range? Okay. I think only one math.random would work with. So I have to write math.random. We have to capitalize the math.random with parameters. Okay. Okay. Math.random alone does not take parameter. This is a new thing that I learned today. So a combination of math and you typically use both to generate a random integer within a specific range. Math.floor. Okay. And we are doing maths.random into maximum and minimum values. So let's run this function first in order to get in more clarity. And if we are console logging the method that we just learned. Okay. And let's see the output first. And we are getting an error. Okay. So we have to, I think we have to pass the value in a variable varia variable called varia and const varia is equal to this whole load of formulas, and let's run the code again, and we are still getting an error. Okay, so we have to pass the minimum and maximum value. So the maximum value will be 10 and minimum value would be 7, and let's see if it still works or not. And we are still getting an error. Minimum is not defined. Okay, and we have passed the minimum with 7. Okay, and now we are getting 10 as a random digit. This one 7 10 7 10. Okay, 7 10 8 7 10 8. Floor. So here we are getting a digit between um, 0 and 1, and if we multiply this thing with a minimum and maximum, so here we are getting 10. 10 minus 7 would be 3, and 3 plus 1 would be 4. Okay, so we are multiplying it by 4, and so even if you talk about the operator precedence, this 10 plus 1 11, 11 minus 4, 11 minus 7 would be 4, and if we multiply with some random values and add it with 7, all these things running around. Let's move to next question. I think that's enough for it, and we have finished with our questions. Let's move to next topic right now. Next is JavaScript object. In our previous article about introduction to object oriented programming in JavaScript, we have all seen common OOP terminology, and now good to know how they don't exist in Java. In this subject, objects are discussed in detail. Okay. In JavaScript, objects can be created using two different methodology, naming literal and constructed. In the literal form, the uses the construction of object literals that can be said as collection of key value pairs enclosed within a pair of curly braces. This syntactical form is shown below. Okay. So if we directly initiate the object in the curly brackets and with key and their respective value, it is called the literal, as per the name suggests. Next is constructed form. Constructed form uses either an object constructor function or new keyword to create an empty object, then adds property to object one by one. These syntaxial forms are shown as below. Object constructor function. In this methodology, the user creates an explicit function to take required values as parameters and assign them as properties of the desired object. Okay, so basically we are defining here an object, value 1, value 2, value c, and after that this dot key 1 is equal to, then we are defining the key. Okay, so the first we are basically creating a function with the objects spelled or spread here and there, and then we are defining key and with their respective values. And next is this method using new keyword. Okay, we are initiating dot new object, and after that object dot key 1 is equal to value 1, object dot key 2 is equal to value 2. Okay, next, difference between using object literals and constructed forms. Both constructed forms and literal forms result in creating exactly the same sort of object. The end result is same for both methodologies. The only difference between the both is the object literals can take care of several key value pairs at once, and thus is more convenient, while on the other hand with constructed form objects we must add the properties one by one in separate statement. It is highly uncommon to use constructed form over the object letters for creating object. Hence, for further visualization, we will use the object letters on most occasion. And I am very pleased that it uses the word highly uncommon, because in my small life of JavaScript, I haven't seen any single person that is using this constructed form to actually create an object. Moving to next one. Built-in object. JavaScript consists of bunch of built-in object, and the following list explores most of them. Although these built-ins have appearance of being an actual type or classes in object-oriented programming, in JavaScript this only function can be constructed using particular subtype. So we have learned string, number, boolean, date, and we have also learned array. We are currently studying the object, the function after that. Now what we are doing here is we are actually initiating a string primitive value named geek for geek. And let's see type of string primitive. It is an string, and set primitive is a stance of a string, so it output as false. Okay, and if we use the built-in string function new string, then the type of a string will be an object and the stance of a string is true. Okay. In above example, we saw that creating a string primitive did not create an object or an instance of a string. Primitives are literal and immutable values. Okay, so primitives are literal, immutable values to perform tasks like calculating the length or changing any character at any position. We must use the object type of a string, object of type string. But JavaScript is a dynamic language, and luckily for the developer, JavaScript queries a string primitive to a string class whenever any operation needs it to be. It is to be noted that due to internal coercion, it is vastly preferred to use primitive as much as possible instead of objects. Next is content of object. JavaScript object consists of a set of key value pairs, which is also known as properties. All properties are named in JavaScript objects, and the key part represents the property name, while the value part represents the property value. The property value can be of primitive data type, or an object, or even a function. The property can also be globally accessible in spite of being owned by object. The general syntax of defining an object is shown below. So what this thing is saying, that we have quite restrictions over the key part, but this value can be anything, even a function. It can be a function, it can be any of primitive type, mean it can be a number, it can be a string, it can be a big int. I'm very sure, because it say that it can be anything, even a function. So I'm very certain that it can big int or a symbol, etc. Now we are creating an object with integer, string, object property, and again a object, nested object in a object. Okay, and now we have a function inside a object. As per conventions, functions associated with an object are known as method. Okay, this is considered to be a small difference between function and a method. A function is an independent sequence of bunch of statement, where a method is an associated with an object and is generally referred by this keyword. And we got a golden thing to copy. Next, defining global variable to be owned by object. This is mostly done on methods. The process is fairly simple, and we will define how our function as we are used to while defining the function to be a member of the object properties. We will just give the name of function and value of key. Let's see the example given below. We are creating function name as value. Okay, my object defined my object dot greet, so it outputs the hello there. Okay, okay, we are defining this function. Actually, the function is defined outside of the object, and we are just passing the name of the function here. So whenever we initiate my object dot greet, it will automatically initiate the function defined out of the scope of the object. Next, with keyword you can be used to reference an object properties. The object is specified as an argument to become the default object for the duration of the block that follows. This is generally recommended not to be used by developers. The use of with is not allowed in JavaScript in strict mode. Okay. And now the chapter has the web page has finished. Let's proceed to quiz first. Next, multiple choice question. Which of the following statement about JavaScript is true? Object can store only primitive, which is false. Object in JavaScript are unordered collection of properties. It is unordered, I know, because they are not indexed. Objects cannot have method, false. Object cannot be nested, false. So only thing that I can agree is B. So the answer for the one would be B. Time to answer second. True or false? Object in JavaScript can both have properties and method. I think it is true. True. Answer for third would be describe how you would create a new object in using both literal syntax and constructor syntax. Let obj1 obj a is equal to how would I create it? Obj a key value. Let's see. Correct. And actually I missed the and I also did wrong to the literal syntax as well. Okay. What would be the output of the following code? Console.log person or person with his name. So it is searching it like an index, and I'm very sure that it will output Alice. So answer of 4 would be A. Next, answer for 5 would be true or false. You can access object properties using both dot notation and bracket notation. Yes. And answer for 6 would be what is the purpose of this keyword in JavaScript objects? This keyword has something to do with scopes. And actually, uh, we actually copied an excellent description of this keyword in our notes as well. This. Yes, this keyword in JavaScript refer to context and context. Correct. I'm very sorry. Next, the this keyword refers to context in which a function is called, allowing you to access properties and method of the object that it is associated with. Okay. Which method is used to check if an object has a specific property? Dot has own property, check property, has property, find property. So the answer for the 7 would be A without a doubt. Answer for 8 would be JavaScript objects are mutable, meaning their properties can be changed. JavaScript objects are mutable. Yes. So should write true. And for ninth, what is the difference between an object own properties and inherited properties? Own property and inherited properties. Inherited properties are defined in the parent of the object, I guess. Correct. And your answer is on right track. To clarify, an object's own property are those that are defined directly in the object itself, while inherited properties are those that come from the object's prototype chaining. Okay, we also have something called prototype chaining here. Mm, let's search for that. Prototype. And yes, using has own property allows you to check if the property belongs to the object itself or not to its prototype chain, thus preventing iteration over inherited properties. Good. Next, what will the following code output? Let car equal to brand Toyota model Corolla year 2020 details is a function which is defined inside the object. Return this dot brand plus empty string plus this dot model. Okay, so here this is referring to Toyota plus Corolla, Toyota Corolla. Okay, now if we console.log, the output would be Toyota Corolla, and the answer for the 10 would definitely be A. Answer for 11 would be, in JavaScript all objects are instances of the object class. I think yes. And answer for 12 would be, explain the concept of prototype in JavaScript object. Prototype. When a object inherits the property of its parent class. Correct, and partially correct. To classify, a prototype in JavaScript is an object from which other objects inherit properties and method. When an object is created, it can have a prototype that provides shared properties and method, allowing for inheritance. What is the output of the following code? First, we have an object. A is the key, 1 is the value, B is the key, 2 is the value. Let clone is equal to object.assign. And in true sense, I haven't heard of an assign method yet. Clone.a I think it will inherit it. So the output would be 1. Just by true guess, I think the output should be 1. 14. You can use the delete operator to remove object. I think it can. True. And 15. What 15? What is the object.keys method returns when called on an object? Returns the key because it is explicitly named after that dot keys. Correct, correct, partially correct. Returns array of the given own or property names keys. Okay. Shallow copy of an object and not the deep copy. Actually, there's a concept called shallow copy and deep copy. We will look after that. First, let me search it so I don't forget it. Shallow copy and deep copy. We will look after that. But first, let's finish the remaining questions. Which of the following is the way to define an object in JavaScript? Object.create, object.assign, object.define property. I don't know. 16. Please tell me. 17. The for in loop can be used to iterate over the properties of an object. For in. Yes, I think it can. Next. 18. How can you prevent an object from being modified? That is, prevent adding or removing properties. It kind of making it read only. I think I heard something called secure. Yeah, using a keyword that prevents the properties to be altered, like const for variable. Secure. Totally my entire guess. Correct answer is all of above. Each option can be used in different way to define or manipulate object in JavaScript. Okay. The for in loop can indeed iterate over the properties of our object. And the answer of secure is a bit vague. To prevent an object from being modified, you can use the object.freeze method. Okay, to this make the object immutable, which means that you cannot add, remove, or change its properties. And this is a wonderful thing to keep in our notes. And this is our final set of question. Now we have an object called fruit, which has the name apple and color red. Now we are accessing the color and we are getting the output as red. So the answer for the 19 would be B. Answer for 20 would be, in JavaScript, an object can only have string keys. Is this a statement true or false? String keys. True. And for 21, the answer, what is the purpose of object.values? To get an array of the properties, the values of an object. I'm guessing because object.keys were used to get the array of the keys. Correct. Returns an array of values. In JavaScript, object keys can be strings or symbols. Okay, object keys can be string or symbols. It will be converted to a string. Okay. Bracket notation. Okay. Now we will round off, or we will wind down this session just after simply taking a look what is this shallow copy and deep copy class means. The shallow copy, the pointer points to the same copy of the object in class. Okay. In deep copy, it creates a copy of each object inside of class. So it is something like taking a reference, while deep copy means actually copying the whole stuff. Okay. And by this definition, shallow repetition is quicker. However, it is lazy. It handles pointer and references. So basically, we are referencing things rather than creating contemporary copy of the particular knowledge the pointer points through. It simply copies over the pointer price. So each of the first, and therefore the copy can have pointers that reference constant underlying knowledge. Deep copy, deep repetition truly clones the underlying data. It is not shared between the first and therefore the copy. And I think that's all. Time to wind up this session. Thank you for joining me today. And how much time has been passed? It around 1 hour and 11 minutes. I think that's good for now. See you in the next one. Bye.